Welcome to 3 massive mistakes men and women make that bring out the worst in each other. Have you ever fallen in love and been deeply hurt by someone you loved? You know, we all have, and this is normal. It's not good, but it is normal. And I think that's why I'm so excited that you're here. You've given yourself the greatest gift today, the time and the focus to make your relationship better. And that is a recipe for success, and I honor you for showing up. So, maybe you're feeling ignored in your relationship, like your needs are unimportant. Or maybe you feel like when you talk, it's Charlie Brown's teacher, you know, wah, 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 wah. Or maybe you feel misunderstood, no matter how much you talk. Maybe for you, it's talking actually makes things worse, much worse. Maybe you're feeling rejected or wondering if your partner even loves you or if you really love your partner. Or maybe you've been hurt, so hurt that you cringe when they come anywhere near you. Maybe you doubt their love for you. Maybe you just feel unappreciated no matter what you do. Or maybe you feel like they don't even know you. Have you ever felt like even though you love your partner, you're lonely right next to them? Like even when you're together, it's cold and lonely? Have you ever felt like you're at the end of your rope and you've tried everything and nothing works? Oh man, is that a painful place to be? I know. I've been there. I've felt all of that. That was my story. I was a poor teenage newlywed, crazy in love with the man of my dreams. I fell madly in love with him, and after dating for 1 month when he asked me to marry him, I said yes! And 7 months later, I was married. So I moved out of my father's house into my husband's house. And within months, he took a different job and we moved away from where my family was to Southern California. And I was really excited to build a life with him, to spend my whole life with him, to build an exciting career for myself. Now, we didn't have much money, but we were crazy in love with each other and we figured that was all we needed. He was building his career, he was working hard, and every day he'd hop on his motorcycle and ride an hour to work every day and then an hour back to get home. And I was carrying a full college load. I mean, all the classes I could possibly take so I could get through college as fast as possible and working another 30 hours a week on top of it to help pay the bills. We were both working as hard as we could to build our future. And somewhere along the way, I felt like I lost him. I felt like I became his enemy because the time we spent together was loud and painful and exhausting. I think we both felt like a victim of a bait and switch scam. You know, he was one man that swept me off my feet, passionate, attentive, romantic. But the man I married was totally different. Angry, upset, controlling. And I know I started out adoring, excited, but I ended up being hurt and rejected. And the problem was we couldn't seem to talk about anything without fighting. And it would always start out okay, but within minutes we'd be yelling at each other. And then he would just clam up and he would refuse to talk about anything anymore. And he would just tell me what to do and all the things that I was doing wrong. I couldn't figure out how we got there or what I was doing wrong, and I couldn't figure out how to fix it. And it just got worse and worse, no matter how hard we tried. And I felt abandoned and lonely right next to him in our tiny apartment. And at night, I felt like there was an iceberg in the bed between us. Now, it stayed this way for a few years when I finally realized something had to be done. I knew we couldn't go on this way. We weren't going to make it, and I was desperately lonely. And I found myself looking elsewhere for another man. I wondered if I was stuck for life with the wrong man, if I had made a mistake, was there somebody better? But even as I looked around, and even flirted with other men to get some attention, it really went against everything that I believed in about myself. It went against my morals. It went against against my beliefs about marriage and God and my identity, who I really thought I was. What I did know was I was scared and I was lonely and I didn't want another man. I wanted mine without all the pain and the rejection. I took a hard look at myself and I began to really study relationships. And this time, instead of blaming him, I began to study men and how men receive love. I studied the power of love. I studied male and female dynamics. I became a personal development junkie. In fact, I was part of Tony Robbins' crew for over a decade. I became a high-performance coach, a leadership trainer, and what I did was I created a fail-safe system to walk people through all the pain that all relationships go through and get the gold out of it. And things got better and better and better. And I learned that when I did certain things, my knight in shining armor showed up again. And it didn't matter how long he'd been gone. I stopped waiting for him to change. He didn't want to go to counseling. He didn't want to hear about anything that I was learning. So I was changing our relationship all by myself. And the more I understood about men, the quicker the changes happened. And he was happy with me. And I was happy with him. And it was like I brought our love back from the dead. So after transforming my relationship, other people began to ask me questions about how I did it. And what I shared worked in their relationships too. And it worked whether it was a work relationship or an intimate relationship. And I got to the point where I could be standing in line and someone would ask me a question and I could give them the exact tool that would transform the relationship immediately. I had uncovered the secrets to transforming relationships. Oh, and him? We've been married for over 3 decades now. We are more passionate about each other than ever before. But in my mind, more importantly, as we go through the hard times, the disappointments, the stress, the lies, the fighting, raising children, having no time for each other, all the financial problems that hit everybody, I now know how to use all of that to get closer. I can build our relationship to be stronger anytime I feel like we're growing apart. So I'm not scared of hard times because I know how to use them to grow us stronger, closer, and more passionate. You see, I uncovered the most powerful relationship secret. One person walking in love can change anything. And a woman called me a few weeks ago and she said, Jeannie, he's left me. He's asked me for a divorce and he won't talk to me. And we have 3 children. He doesn't want to work on it. It's hopeless. But someone told me to call you. They said, you work miracles in relationships. But what can you do if he doesn't want to work on it? 2 people have to want to work on it, right? That is a lie. Did you hear me? A lie. 2 people do not have to work on it. Otherwise, you'd never have success on the planet. You see, what I discovered was, in a relationship, we are reacting to each other. Reacting. That means if you change your behavior, they will react to your changes. They change. One person walking in love can change anything. So I said to this woman, look, if you do exactly what I tell you to do, your husband will be back home tonight. Are you willing to do exactly what I tell you to do? Well, of course she said yes. She did exactly what I told her to do. And he reacted to it and he was back that night. So it does not take 2 people working on it together to fix it. It takes one person walking in love because love is the most powerful force on the planet. Love is that one thing that none of us can live without. And it's what we're all looking for. So if you become the one person to walk in love, the other person will react to you every single time because that's what we're all looking for. And relationships really are the key to success. And love is the key to relationships. So today, I'm so glad you're here. We're talking about how to avoid the 3 massive mistakes men and women make that bring out the worst in each other and guarantee a painful and costly breakup. And along the way, I'm going to give you the secrets as well. Now, I have to tell you, these mistakes are phenomenally common. My guess is you are making them every single day and you don't know you're doing it. These behaviors are what are causing the growing apart, the loneliness, the fighting, the arguing. One woman who went through this program, she said, you know, Jeannie, I attended a week-long marriage conference in California, but I learned more with you in this one little training than in the entire week-long conference. I'm going to deliver for you today, so get ready because I've got a lot for you. Have you ever thought, why did he do that? Or why didn't he do what he said he was going to do? Or she doesn't make any sense. Or he's selfish, all he wants is sex. Or she doesn't care about me, she never wants sex. Have you gotten confused and frustrated with each other and blamed each other for what was happening? Well, what if what you think is going on is not actually happening? By the end of our time together, you will have 3 vital keys to getting the relationship you want. Ladies, have you ever asked him to do something for you and he didn't do it? I'm going to share with you the one word he must hear from her before he will ever even show up for her. And gentlemen, have you ever had her get mad at you and you had no idea why? I know you have. I'm going to share with you the biggest, most common error men make that causes her to pull away from you and be upset at you. And then, have you ever started out with an easy conversation and then it turned into a fight and you don't know how and you don't know how to get out of it? We all have. So I'm going to unveil the biggest, most common, most damaging mistake we make when we're communicating with each other. And I'm even going to share with you what to do in the middle of an argument to get what you really want. All along the way, you are going to get some easy to follow practical strategies you can use immediately to reconnect so that you both want to be together and support each other instead of avoiding each other or just doing everything yourself because that seems easier than fighting. Once you know these things, it will feel like a miracle at how easy things get. Now, I want to put your fears to rest as we get started. A client called me and she was worried. She said, Jeannie, the relationship is so hard and there's so much fighting and so much pain. Am I with the wrong man? Have you ever wondered this? This is the old world idea. The wrong man, the wrong woman. Mostly because most people determine the right or the wrong person based off of the idea that with the right person, there will be no struggle. Wrong! Now, I told her all that passion is actually a good sign. The passion's definitely aimed in the wrong direction, but the fact that there's that much passion is actually a good thing, not a bad thing. In the new world, we simply aim all that passion in the right direction and everyone is happy. You just need some tools, some understanding to help re-aim the passion in the right direction. So just because it's hard doesn't mean it's the wrong person. That's the wrong indicator to base your decision off of. Because you see, the difficult times, even those fiery times, are actually the doorway to a deeper level of love than you've ever experienced. And you can't get to that deeper level of love and connection without those hard times. Think of it like this. Love is like a diamond. It's those hard times and the pressure that bring out the depth, the strength, and the true beauty of love. Come on, when everything is comfy and easy between you, you're not walking in love, you're not showing up, you're not giving your best, you're just comfortable and probably bored. It's not difficult times that destroy relationships. It's how you handle those fiery times that determines the outcome, not the fact that you're having them. that means fighting is not a problem. How you fight can be a real problem. So let's talk about those 3 super common, super costly, massive mistakes men and women make that bring out the worst in each other and guarantee a painful and costly breakup. Let's start with mistake number 3. Let's see how you argue. Have you ever thought, he's the problem, she doesn't make any sense, if they would just change it would all be better, if they would just get over it and drop it, it would all be better? Have you ever thought that? The 3rd massive mistake that guarantees a painful and costly breakup is criticism. Criticism. Think about it. When you are judged or criticized, does it make you feel closer to the other person? Does it make you want to work with them to solve a problem? Of course not. If anything, it makes you feel like they don't know you, they don't understand you, and it actually pushes you away from them. Isn't that your reaction to judging? Dr. John Gottman is famous for being able to predict divorce with over a 90% accuracy. In fact, within 30 minutes of talking to you, he can, within a 90% accuracy rate, tell you if you're going to make it or not. Because what he found was a direct correlation between criticism and breakup. Well, here's the problem. We don't actually know when we're doing it. My male clients have criticized their women for their cooking, for their driving, for their work, for their dress, for their lack of logic, for their overactive emotions, and on it goes. While my female clients have criticized their men for their manners, for their lack of work, for their eating habits, for their exercise or lack of exercise habits, for their lack of emotions, and it goes on and on and on. But when you get criticized, what does it mean to you? And what do you get criticized for? I want you to take a minute right now and think about it and write a few thoughts down. When you get criticized, what do you get criticized for? And what does criticism mean to you? You see, most of us don't realize we actually are criticizing, and we don't recognize the damage. In fact, we think we're helping each other. That's what we think. I was doing this workshop in California, and a group of women were looking at me like, oh, well, I never criticized my man. So I said, okay, let's see. The definition of criticism is expressing disapproval of what one does as if they are filled with faults or mistakes. It is judging, attacking, condemning, nitpicking, putting down, or putting choices down. So, do you express disapproval in your relationship? Do you express this disapproval as if it's a mistake or as if they're filled with faults? Do you ever attack your partner? Do you condemn your partner or their choices? Do you nitpick your partner, like nothing they ever do is good enough? Do you put them down? Do you put their choices down? Did you think this was helping the other person to be a better person, to make better choices? I told you, we're all doing this and we don't even knowing it. But see, what you need to realize is criticism always damages relationships because it pushes people away from you. Hey, even if you are making a mistake, do you want to be told about it in a way that makes you feel like an idiot? How do you want to be told? I had another client who said to me, Jeannie, I know exactly what she should be doing. But Jeannie, she won't listen to me. She just wallows in the pain. That's what he said. Can you hear the criticism in that? And he thought he was protecting her from hard times by simply demanding she get over it and do what he thought she should do instead. But in this case, he was demanding she get over a rape. He was causing even more damage on top of what she had already gone through. And he didn't see it. He thought he was helping. So I always ask at this point this secret weapon. At this point, ask yourself, if you say that, will it get you what you want? Always, before you open your mouth, will this get me what I want if I say it? Because if you criticize, if you express your disapproval, if you let them know you think they are filled with faults or making mistakes, if you judge, attack, condemn, if you nitpick, if you put them down, or even put their choices down, will that get you what you want? No! So here's a massive relationship secret. Write this down. Only do what works to get you what you want. And criticism never gets you what you want. So that's the secret I want you to think of in the middle of an argument. I want you to ask yourself, if I say this, will this get me what I want? If the answer is no, then I want you to ask yourself, can I use this argument to get closer? Write that down. That is a power question, and it builds magnificent relationships. You will be amazed at the wisdom that flows when you ask yourself, how can I use this argument to get closer? Or simply, how can I use this to get closer? Criticism always damages. It destroys connection and people. And when it becomes about you personally instead of a behavior, it damages the relationship and drives you away from each other. Criticism brings out the worst in each other because it makes you want to defend yourself or attack them instead of think about how to work something out for the good of both of you. Now, if you criticize a man, it makes him do one of two things. He will either fight you or he will walk away from you in order to avoid fighting you. And I want you to understand this. Walking away from you is how a man shows he respects you. It's true. The problem is, women don't feel respected when a man walks away from her. What they feel is abandoned. They feel unimportant, they feel unloved, and they feel rejected. You need to know this. This is why when he walks away in order to respect her, she will go after him. You know this. She'll go after him and she'll just keep talking. She's actually trying to resolve the issue with talking while he is trying to walk away so the fighting stops. But recognize, neither behavior gets you what you want because both behaviors hurt. Respect, in this case, is perceived as abandonment. And chasing after him like a barking dog, trying to prove how much you care and how much you want to work it out, is perceived as disrespect. Can you see it? Now here's the problem. Gentlemen, you must understand criticism, expressing your disapproval, thinking she is filled with faults because she doesn't stop thinking about it or talking about it or telling her she's making a mistake. She needs to get over it, let it go, or judging her. She's over emotional, or attacking her, or condemning. None of your business is none of your business. You need to just let it go. Or nitpicking. You always do this. Or putting her or her choices down hurts her deeply. It's personal to her when you criticize. Criticism will push her away from him. And listen carefully, because it will also make her want to talk about it over and over and over again, because that's how a woman solves problems, by talking about it. So cutting off conversation in order to fix it and get her over it is what makes her talk more and more and more in order to solve it. And oh, this is a nightmare to men. Said another way, criticism causes her to talk about it over and over and over again because she's trying to achieve understanding with him. And she'll talk as long as it takes. So here's what I want you to do right now. I want you to have your partner score you on a scale of 1 to 10 of how much you criticize. 1, every time you open your mouth, and 10, rarely if ever. And be honest with each other. You need to know how often you're doing this massive mistake. And if your partner doesn't want to score you, then score yourself and be honest with yourself, because you need to know what you're doing. Then outlaw criticism and use every argument to get closer. Use those fiery times for what they were meant for. They're designed to grow you, to show you how much and how deeply you can love. Let's talk about massive mistake number 2 that guarantees a painful and costly breakup. I want you to think about when you first fell in love. Now, if you're not in love now, think about a time when you were, like crazy in love, couldn't think about anything else. And if you don't have that experience, think about something you love, like chocolate or fishing or football. Just think about something you love. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and remember when you fell in love. Remember when you had it bad. Remember when you couldn't live without them. When you wanted nothing more than to be together for the rest of your lives. Remember how they made you feel. Remember what happened when they smiled at you. Are you feeling it? Enjoy that. Breathe deeply. Breathe in that feeling. Exhale. Enjoy that feeling for a moment. You see, that feeling when you fall in love, your body is inundated with oxytocin. This is the bonding hormone. This is the most amazing feeling, love. This is the reason you can see no bad in the person that you're falling for. Everyone else can see this and that, but you can't. You are like love blind. It's because you are drugged out of your mind. Oxytocin is the best drug. Now, studies tell us those chemicals that give you that floating, flying, life is amazing feeling will dissipate right at the 2-year mark of your relationship. So typically things are wonderful for 2 years because you're drugged out of your mind and you feel like you love deeply without your head actually getting in the way, without noticing the things that will drive you nuts. But then it will wear off, it will dissipate. You can think of this as the terrible twos of your relationship. When that dopey oxytocin chemicals, when they start to wear off, what do you start thinking about your partner? What do you think? That's right. You think, I need to fix them. We get them and then we fix them. This is completely normal, but this is the F word of relationships. Fix them. And it's the second massive mistake that guarantees a painful and costly breakup. But here's the million-dollar question. The key that transforms everything. What do you want to fix them to be like? That's right, like you. Because of course, you are right and they are wrong. And that is the real massive problem. Let me show you what I mean. Grab a piece of paper, number a list from 1 to 10. And I'm simply going to read a definition of the word opposite. Now, if you experience this, give yourself a check mark. That's all you've got to do. If you don't experience it, leave it blank. 1 to 10. So the definition of opposites, this is from the dictionary, and this is what you are in every way from your partner. Number 1, having a position on the other or further side of something. So does this sound familiar to you? Does it feel like you're on opposite sides? Give yourself a tally mark. 2, diametrically, completely different, of a contrary kind. Another word for contrary is conflicting. Are you dealing with some contrary in your relationship? Give yourself a check mark. Number 3, opposite in meaning to another. Does your partner not make sense to you? Or do you not feel like you can get through? And the more you talk, the worse it gets. Number 4, currents flowing in opposite directions. Does it seem like no matter how much you try to fix them or get through, they don't do what you want them to do? Does it seem like that? Number 5, a person or a thing that is totally different from or the reverse of something or someone else. Do you find that you reverse each other? You know, I'll walk in a room and I'll open the blinds and my husband will follow me in and he'll close them right behind me. Or I'll order fish and he'll order steak, or I'll order salad and he'll order soup. Or anybody got some totally different reverse of going on? Give yourself a tally mark. Number 6. The origin of this word comes from the word opponer, which means set against. So do you feel like you've got some set against going on in your relationship? Either the one you have now or one in the past. Or you know when you need to talk to them about something, they are going to oppose whatever you want. Is it like that for you? Give yourself a tally mark. 7. Contrary or radically different, as in nature, qualities, direction, result, or significance. Have you got that going on in your relationship? You know, like nature differently. You're a morning person, he's a night owl. You're outgoing, he's introverted. He has to have all the facts. You go by what you feel. Different natured. Number 8, symmetrically opposed in position, direction, or character. In other words, they're set against each other in such a way that the contrast or conflict between them is highlighted. So have you got some highlighted conflict going on? Number 9, an opponent and antagonist. Do you feel like you live with an antagonist? Actively opposing you, hostile about it. If that's what you feel like you have in your relationship, you're going to be okay. Hang with me. All will be well. And finally, number 10. Incompatible, irreconcilable, unlike, differing, contrary, reverse, opposing views. It often adds the idea of conflict or antagonism. So if you've got any of this antagonism, incompatible, unreconcilable, give yourself a tally mark. And the antonyms for opposite, get this, same and like. So add up your tally marks, see if you've got an opposite. Contrary, antagonism, opponent, differing, headed in different directions. Have you got an opposite in your relationship? My bet is that you do. Can you see the problem clearly now? You see, most couples who experience this opposite-ness think they've got the wrong partner. They think it's irreconcilable. And yet, if you've got irreconcilable, you simply have an opposite, and you're supposed to. I've got great news for you. If any of this is going on in your relationship, you've got a normal relationship. Congratulations, you're normal. And truthfully, the more opposite you are, the more passion there'll be in the relationship. Do you want more passion? You know, I mean the good kind, not the bad kind. Opposite is what you're supposed to have. It's very, very good. And this is a massive relationship secret. Opposite equals passion. You see, you've been designed to be opposite in order to create more passion. Because if you're the same, the passion leaves and it's replaced by comfort and eventually boredom. And then you go somewhere else to get your passion fix. So it's important to realize the more opposite you are, the more passion there'll be, the more attraction, the more fun. Unless you try to fix them to be like you, then the more pain. So the last thing you want to do is stop being opposites. Said another way, the worst thing you want to do is fix them. That's why I call it the F word of relationships. So let's test it. Let's see how it works for you. Think about your partner. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Picture your partner, see that beautiful face, see that handsome face smiling at you. Picture your partner in their absolute favorite, make it your favorite sexy memory. Got the picture? You got it? Hang on to that picture. Feel what that feels like for a minute and enjoy it. In fact, I want you to make the sound of how this makes you feel and let your face look how this makes you feel. Hang on to it for a second. Good. Now, in the picture, I'd like you to change their sex to yours. So if you're a woman, make him a woman. If you're a man, make her a man. And now you've succeeded. You've fixed them to be just like you. Now they do everything the way you want them to, just like you. So how's your attraction now? How's it going? Usually I get, because the truth is, if you ever succeeded in changing them to be like you, you won't want them. Even in same-sex relationships, one person will take the male role and one person will take the female role, because relationships don't work without that opposing force that creates all the passion. So I always tell my clients, when you think about fixing them, think about how the vet fixes animals. Think about that. They cut off their masculinity or their femininity. They just cut it off. This is not what you want, so don't fix them. Said another way, women subconsciously think a man is a hairy woman. Hairy woman, and then they treat him that way. You know what I mean. He needs to share his feelings with me. He just needs to have a good cry. He needs a hug. He needs to talk it all out, and then it'll get better, talk therapy. He needs help, and he shouldn't have to ask for it, because really any woman would know and anticipate ahead of time what the needs are before anybody asks, because this is how a woman shows her love. Does this sound familiar? And when he doesn't do these things, she decides he's lying to her. He's rejecting her. He doesn't care about her, all because he's not acting the way a woman would. A hairy woman. But no masculine man likes being treated like a woman. It brings out the worst in him. And when she treats him like a woman, or tries to fix him to be like a woman, to talk the way a woman would talk, to do things the way a woman would do things, to share his feelings the way a woman would share her feelings, this kills his love for her. And most women have no idea they're doing this. But this actually is attacking his masculinity. And a masculine man, when he is attacked, will counterattack. What that means is, if he's trying to protect her, even from himself, he will leave her in order to protect her. Unfortunately, this is when she feels like he's cold, he doesn't care about her, he's selfish, or he's rejecting her. Because in her mind, if he really loved her, he would never leave. But in his mind, if he really loved her, he'll leave instead of attacking her. And she has no idea she's doing anything wrong, because she unconsciously thinks he's a hairy woman and he just needs to talk it out with her. But he'll leave her in order to protect her from his own anger. But then, when he leaves her, she'll make another whole slew of inaccurate judgments about him. He doesn't care about me. He's selfish. But see, that can only be true if he's a hairy woman. So now score yourself. On a scale of 1 to 10, ladies, how much do you expect him to act like a hairy woman? 1 would be all the time. 10 would be rarely ever. Okay, men, your turn. Unconsciously, men think she is a curvy man, and they treat her that way. What do I mean? Well, he expects her to be logical. He expects her to ignore her emotions and not be moved by them. He expects her to handle her emotions like a man. He expects her to get quickly to the point. He expects her to never speak unless she has a point and only one point. And he expects her to want sex as much as he does. And when she doesn't do those things, when she doesn't act like a man or want sex as much as he does, he thinks she's broken, she needs to be fixed, or she's rejecting him. And none of this is true. What that means is all the times he thought she rejected sex with him, it's very likely she didn't do it because she is not a curvy man. And no feminine woman likes being treated like a man. Treating her like a man would be get over your feelings, or expecting her to talk the way a man would talk in bullet point with no details, or to do things the way a man would do things. You know, leave work at work, or just get over it, it's not important. Making big things small so you can leave them behind. And all of these things will kill her love for him. It will kill her femininity when he treats her like a man. And she'll want to run to a girlfriend to talk to. So he gets replaced by a woman. But the truth is, he can never be replaced by a woman, because no matter how many girlfriends she has, she still wants a man. And when he treats her like a man, it will bring out the worst in her. She will react with complaining, with crying, with fighting. And she'll be fighting him and all of his fixing solutions. So fixing her causes her to pull away from him. And he now becomes the problem in her life. She can't trust him. So when she shares like a woman would share, he will actually hurt her by fixing her to be like a man. Like, get over it. It's not important. And most men have no idea they are doing this to their women. They miss all of this because they don't think they're doing anything wrong, because he subconsciously thinks she's a curvy man, she should act like one and make sense like one. But does he really want a man as his wife, his girlfriend, his lover? Is that what he really wants? Stop expecting her to be one, because she's not a curvy man. If he would simply make it okay for her to be a woman, to be the opposite of him, make it okay for her to feel things deeply, make it okay for her to need to talk it all out with him, he'd be astounded at how things get better fast. And the passion comes roaring back for both of you when you allow each other to be opposite again. So his turn. Score yourself from 1 to 10. 1, I rarely ever expect her to act like a curvy man. And 10, I've always expected her to act like a curvy man and I never realized it. Make it okay for her to feel things deeply, to talk about them with him, and things will change drastically for the good. So repeat after me. He's not a hairy woman. She's not a curvy man. The second massive mistake men and women make is the F word of relationships. Fix them. And the secret that creates passionate relationships, opposites equal passion. Make it good to be opposites. Okay, great. We are at the number 1 massive mistake that guarantees a painful and costly breakup. These are the things men and women do that bring out the worst in each other. So, has she ever asked him to do something for her and either he didn't do it or he completely forgot about it after he said he'd do it? And when she brought it up, he was like, well, that's no big deal. And it feels like when she talks, he hears wah, 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 wah. And has he ever had a conversation with her where he was clear, succinct, on point, and she responded with 59 questions, not only about what he said, but a bunch of other things that have nothing whatsoever to do with what he said? Have you guys experienced this? You know, I was in St. Thomas with my husband, and he had been working 7 days a week, 12-hour days for weeks. But one morning, he took the morning off, and we were sitting on the sofa, and we were looking at the ocean. You know, it was dotted with those beautiful islands. Oh, it was just gorgeous. The turquoise water was gleaming. We were finally together, just enjoying being together. He had his arm wrapped around me, and we were just chatting. And then he asked me the words that thrill the heart of every woman. He said, "Honey, what have you been up to?" And my heart skipped a beat, because it means he loves me. He cares about me. He's asking about me. Well, I began sharing something I was really excited about that I had just learned. And before I could even finish my sentence, he cut me off and he said, "Well, that won't work." And it was kind of harsh, and I hadn't really said anything yet. So his response didn't make any sense to me. So I said, "Well, you know, it's just something I was thinking about." And he said, "Well, it's stupid because it won't work." And at that point, my feelings got a little hurt, because he actually hadn't heard anything long enough to know whether it would work or not work. Truthfully, I was just dreaming. I hadn't even decided what I was going to do. So, in my brilliance, I figured he needed more details. So, I talked faster. I was trying to get out lots and lots of details before he burst out again. And the conversation got louder and faster and louder and faster, and I couldn't figure out what he was upset about until finally he just yelled at me. And he said, "I can't understand you because you just keep talking." I had run smack dab into the first massive mistake that guarantees a painful and costly breakup. This is the one that brings out the worst in each other. Studies say the #1 cause of divorce is communication. When a man ignores when a woman is talking, or he forgets something she asked him to do you know what that means to a woman? It means he doesn't care. It means he's selfish. It means he's lazy. When a man has a conversation with a woman where he is clear, succinct, on point, and she responds with 59 questions, not only about what he said, but about a bunch of other things that have nothing to do with what he said, do you know what that means to him? It means she's clueless. She wasn't listening. She needs some wisdom. It means she doesn't trust him. Isn't that wild? Here's the real problem. I've discovered the #1 massive mistake men and women make that brings out the worst in each other and guarantees a painful and costly breakup is men don't speak English. They don't. And women don't speak English. Men speak Menglish and women speak Feminish. It's true. Let me show you. So let's say he comes home from work and she's excited to see him, and almost before he comes all the way in the door, she says, "Hi, honey, how was your day?" And he says, "Good." Do you know what that means to her? That either he doesn't trust her, or worse, he's lying to her and she shouldn't trust him. All because all he said was good. And he waited a long time before he did it. So in her wisdom, in her language, she decides he's a hairy woman who speaks Feminish, and he's not giving her details because he doesn't trust her or he's lying to her. Can you see the massive damage this causes in our relationships? Most women don't know that Menglish has a rule that says the less words you use, the more points you get. It's true. Okay, now let me flip it for a second. When a man cuts a woman off when she's talking to him to try to very quickly fix whatever it was she was talking about before she can even finish her sentence, like in my story, do you know what that means to her? It means he isn't listening. It means he doesn't care. It means he thinks she's stupid and can't handle her own life. This is why you get into battles and you don't even know why. Welcome to the war of the sexes, which is happening with every word, whether you know about it or not, because we speak two completely different languages for two completely and opposing results. Now, I could go on about this for days, and I actually do in other programs, but I think the best use of our time would be twofold. First, how to get him to do things for her so that when she talks, he doesn't hear Charlie Brown's teacher, wah, 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 wah. So let's start with that. When she wants him to take out the trash, she will typically say, honey, could you take out the trash? Now, if she uses the word could, his male, logical, single-focused brain that speaks Manglish will process it this way. His brain will say, well, of course I could. I'm capable of that. And that will be the end of that train of thought. His male, logical brain has not been asked to do something. He's been asked about his capability. So his brain will not even consider moving him to do it. Because it's a question of whether or not he could, not whether or not he would. So again, his brain never considers actually doing it because that's not what he was asked. This is Manglish. And men speak Manglish. They do not speak English. Manglish is logical, bullet point, and single focused. And it has nothing whatsoever to do with whether or not he loves her, whether or not he cares about her, or about what she wants. It is simply a man logically answering a question in Manglish. So ladies, don't get upset. Don't get mad that he can't think like a woman and he doesn't speak Feminish. I mean, think about it. Would you get mad at somebody who spoke Swahili? Of course not. He doesn't speak Feminish. It's just different and it's very good. Simply change the question to Manglish. Sounds like this. Honey, would you take out the trash while I make dinner, please? Would is the Manglish word to consider action. When he hears would, his brain automatically begins considering if he can act on it right now. Now, that's the important part about the way a man processes. The male brain processes in the moment. Will I act on that now? And if the answer is no, I will not do it right now because I'm busy or I'm in the middle of something, his brain will then delete the task. He does not have a female brain that stores tasks onto a long list of to-dos. Remember, you're opposites. This is why she often feels like she has to do it all or it won't get done. But what it really means is, if she doesn't need it now, then change the question to the correct translation from English so he can hear her and support her. And it's very simple. Sounds like this. Honey, would you take out the trash before you go to bed tonight, please? She just has to let him know the timing, the priority of what she needs. And now she's speaking English. He can understand clearly what she needs in the right translation, and he can respond to support her instead of deleting it as soon as he hears it. Now, if she thinks he's actually really heard her but still doesn't get the help that she needs, there's a very easy, no nagging solution in Manglish. Because really, nobody likes to be nagged, and nagging doesn't work. And remember, only do what works. You simply say, thank you so much for helping me by taking out the trash tonight. You do this ahead of time. Thanking him ahead of time will refocus his brain into the moment. Remember, he thinks in the moment. It will reward him No nagging, no complaining necessary. So change the word could to the word would and reward him with gratitude, and most men will joyfully do what you asked if they're capable. And now there's no fighting over things. He feels honored, he feels appreciated, and she's happy with him. Instant connection, lots of points. Ding, ding, ding. Now this time, I'd like her man to score her on a scale of 1 to 10 on how well he thinks she speaks Manglish. And 1 would be she's inarticulate, and 10 would be she's fluent. Score her. You see, not understanding how to translate Manglish and Feminish dooms you to misunderstandings, conflict, and fighting that's almost impossible to eliminate because you're speaking 2 different reasons for different purposes, for different end results. You must translate it. Your love is getting lost in translation. Now for him, there are some miraculous Feminish words she needs to hear from him. Write these down. These are really powerful words. You ready? Honey, tell me all about it. Now don't groan. These are Feminish words, and they bring a massive reward to those brilliant enough to use them. Okay, let me explain to you how to use these powerful words. When he says these words, the secret is she doesn't want you to fix anything. She just wants him to listen. Because talking is how a woman creates an intimate relationship. Said in Manglish, lots of words equals intimacy. And the secret is just listen, don't fix. Because listening is the fix. Listening creates an intimate connection with him. And then she'll want a physical connection. Sex. That's his massive reward for listening. So ladies, I'd like you to score your man on how well he speaks Feminish. 1, he's inarticulate, and 10, he's fluent. The first massive mistake is communication, because we speak 2 different languages for 2 different reasons. And the secret I shared with you today for creating authentic, long-lasting, passionate relationships is, ladies, use the word would, not the word could. And gentlemen, say to her, tell me all about it, and then listen without fixing. Women will be thrilled to get the help that they need to be listened to without fixing, and men will be thrilled to be the man who makes her happy. You know, I asked a few men recently, what does it do for you to make your women happy? And one man said, I wouldn't be a man without it. It was so beautiful. And another man said, it's the reason I live. So you've now learned the 3 massive mistakes men and women make that bring out the worst in each other and guarantee a painful and costly breakup. How'd you score? How'd you do? Are the things you used to love now just getting on your nerves, like you don't even like each other anymore, even though you still love each other? Maybe you're wondering if you still love each other. You see, in the beginning of a relationship, in order to fall in love, you talked about everything for hours, or you texted at all hours. You just couldn't stop thinking about each other because talking was required for falling in love. Talking equals love. But then after some time passes, now when she talks to him, they end up in a fight, and she has no idea why. And he has no clue what the fight is about, because the longer they talk, the worse it gets, because she keeps adding details and he can't find the point, causing great confusion, great anger, great pain, and neither of them know how to get out of it. So what's a woman to do? Well, a woman will talk more. But the more she talks, the worse it gets, because in Manglish, talking makes it worse. Write that down. I had a client who was really struggling with her husband, so she decided to record a fight so I could analyze it. It was a 90-minute recording. Can you imagine? In it, she was begging him to share his feelings and then explain his feelings to her. And he was demanding she stop talking. She was begging him to speak Feminish, which he doesn't speak, He was demanding she speak Manglish. Have you done this? He kept telling her, this isn't solving anything. It's making things worse. And she continued to beg him to share his feelings. She said, I want to be on your side, but I can't if I don't understand you and I don't understand your feelings. They sat in their opposite worlds, demanding they act like the opposite, demanding you act like me. And it was deeply hurtful. But you see, Manglish doesn't speak in feelings. Manglish speaks in facts. Not only that, but men pride themselves for not acting on feelings, ignoring their feelings, and only acting on facts. Whereas Feminist is all about feelings. So of course they were both in pain the longer they talked. But she believed the only way they could fix it was to talk it all out. And she was shocked when I told her how deeply he loved her. She's like, did you listen to that fight? I said, yes, I did. But he stayed 90 minutes in that conversation that he knew in Manglish was not going to do any good. That man loves you. And their love was lost in translation. And they thought it was irreconcilable. It wasn't. It wasn't. Now, when a man gets tired of fighting or talking, he'll stonewall. Because in Manglish, this is solving the fighting and saving the relationship from pain. However, stonewalling is one of those behaviors that Dr. John Gottman found that skyrockets the odds of breakup right up into the 90 percentile range. And the reason why is because stonewalling in Feminish is uncaring, mean, and selfish. So when he says to her, get over it, because he's trying to make the pain go away, she hears, I don't care about you. And it hurts like rejection. He stops the conversation in order to stop the pain now. Because in a man's mind, the pain is obviously coming from this never-ending conversation, which isn't fixing anything. Unfortunately, in Feminish, this is translated as abandonment. This is where they both get tired of fighting, so they ignore each other and they begin to grow apart. She feels he doesn't love her because the connection is gone because he won't communicate with her. He feels the passion floundering because she doesn't want him. And both of them will feel lonely even when they're together. Does this sound familiar to you? I want you to see how clearly this is coming from Manglish and Feminish. He'll feel like nothing makes her happy. Said in Manglish, he's not a good enough man. And when he feels like nothing he does will make her happy, he will stop trying. But this is really dangerous because at that point, both of them will begin looking elsewhere to get their needs met. It may be an emotional affair, it may be porn, it may be putting all your effort into your career or raising your children. It could be good choices, it could be bad choices, but it's still dangerous because each of you will go somewhere else to get your needs met. At this point, women will usually ramp up hinting because hinting is a favorite. So she'll never actually say exactly what she wants. She'll talk about what she doesn't want or what's not working. She'll ask him what he wants. All of this is the Feminish effort to open up communication and get him talking with her. It doesn't mean she doesn't know what she wants. And Feminish will pride itself on guessing what the other person needs and giving it ahead of time. It's called thoughtfulness. It's called caring. In Manglish, this is called rude and offensive. If you haven't asked, don't stick your nose where it doesn't belong. Seriously, have you ever asked a man, did you ask them about this big, important, painful thing in their life? And he replied, no. If he wants to tell me, he will. Because in Manglish, it's rude to ask. In Feminish, it's uncaring not to ask. Can you see how opposite we are, truly, in our languages? Feminist is a language of hints. However, I have to tell you, the hint meter in a man's brain is missing. It's not there. He does not register hints. And when he doesn't register hints, this will reinforce to her the feelings that he doesn't love her, even though it's not really happening. I want you to see how many problems enter in by not recognizing the two different languages. You see, Menglish is a very literal language built on facts, not feelings. Facts, ma'am, just the facts. And in Menglish, it's an insult to follow feelings. Now, because he loves her and doesn't want her to see her in pain, he will actually try to fix things by moving over into dictator mode. You know, I'll solve the problem, I'll just tell her what to do, she just needs to get over it. Now, she feels invisible and used. Can you see all the problems entering in? Well, when hints don't work, a woman will try complaining, because in feminist, complaining is actually used to bring people closer. It's true. You're giving them an opportunity to step up and prove how much they care about you. That's what complaining is used for in feminist. But it blows up in Menglish because complaining is always disapproval of his character, and he will get angry, he will defend himself, and he will blame her for all the problems. Does this sound familiar to you? So even in a relationship where they both still love each other, neither of them will actually feel loved. He will feel constant rejection from her, and he'll look for sex to reconnect with her. She will look for conversation to reconnect with him, and they will reject each other. And with each day that passes, it's like this iceberg grows between them. And they don't know that all the things they're doing to fix it are actually causing greater damage. This is why you might feel like no matter how hard you work on it, it gets colder and colder and colder, and nothing works. And she'll wonder if she's with the wrong man. And he'll think he's not a good enough man. And every 13 seconds in the United States, someone gets divorced. That's why I've taken all this time to train you. That's why I'm so glad you've gone through this training, because with the secrets you got today, you can have a love that grows deeper through the years, more passionate, a love that doesn't burn up and burn out, scarring you both along the way. You now have 3 powerful keys to build a magnificent relationship. And the truth is, right now, you have enough to bring the love and the passion roaring back anytime you want to. And the truth is, love never dies. You know, it can get covered up by pain and rejection and bitterness and jealousy and lying and hurt. But if you can come along and just swipe all that garbage off, there it is, right there, feeding away. I'm so glad you did this training. Let it transform your relationship. I am your relationship genie. I am at your service. Go show the one you love some love.